Thank you, Tracy. I'm getting set up.
Hey, Yolanda.
My name is Popcornologist. Thank you so much.
Okay,
Welcome, and
popcornologist.
thank you for joining me, and welcome to the Popcornologist Gabcast.
Thanks for
Um,
having me.
you're welcome. We already have someone in the chat, so salutes to you, the bomb mom. And today we're featuring a human resource specialist who's going to give us some tips on job interviewing. This is the Mrs. JB. She's been gracious enough to come on over, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about prepping for employment, job interviewing, and we're going to talk a little bit about some experiences she has had interviewing people. So, welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And so, Miss JB, um, if you wouldn't mind just telling the viewers just a little bit about your background, what your credentials are, and we'll just go from there.
Well, like you said, my name is Miss JB. I have earned an MBA in business administration with a concentration in leadership. I also have an undergraduate degree in human resources management, and I've been working as an HR coordinator for a while, HR assistant. I've did some training, and I've also been in management.
Okay, okay, sounds good. And my dog would start barking just as we get started. So very good, very good. You and we came up with this idea as we had a conversation. Um, as you do recruit for employment and some of the recruitment that call in, we talk about their etiquette on the phone. We talk about their preparedness for job interviewing. And it seems to be a problem. Maybe that's something that's not touched on anymore by parents, possibly not in schools. But those are things that we learned um, kind of sort of when we were coming up, even as young as high school. And so, in your experience, do you find that more people are unprepared for employment than people that are?
I think that there is some information that is
You,
not
you sound
given
a
to
little
me.
you sound a little distorted.
Okay, let me turn my mic up. How about now?
Okay, good, good. It just kind of sounded like your speaker was Borgen.
Yeah, it did sound a little louder a second ago.
Hmm.
But when we were in high school, we had business courses. We
Wait,
had
it's going out again.
oh, great. Give me a second. Okay, what about now?
Okay, you're good.
Okay. So when we were in school, we had business courses. We had people to come in and speak to us about how to dress for interviews, how to answer interview questions, how to even fill out an application. And what I'm saying now is that most youth between, I would say, 18 and maybe 25 doesn't even know how to call into the office to speak over the phone to talk about employment. It's
Let
really,
me
really bad.
let me ask you a question just to intervene. Are you like in the area that has bad reception?
No. Let me move to another side of the
Um,
house. I had good reception. I mean, it was good when I started because I could hear you
it
real
was
good. I got the
fine,
speaker on.
yeah, but now it's just a little like when you start speaking, it's coming through like a little distorted.
What about now?
Okay, you sound great. It sounds like you're here with me.
Okay. So where should I pick up where I left off? I don't know.
You may want to repeat what you said. So I did ask you, do you find that more people are unprepared for interviews from beginning to end, the whole process, which means that from the telephone calls to the in person, do you find that more people are unprepared than prepared?
They are. more people are very, very unprepared. I'm not sure if they took that out of the school systems. I know recently they have taken a lot of educational pieces that um, the young youth need as they enter into adulthood and enter into, the job market. They're
Mm,
missing a very important piece as even how to call into an establishment to speak with someone about gaining employment. I think that they're talking like they're texting. They're too texting, and they think that if they text them and say, okay, dang, they're calling to the office. For an example, I can answer the phone. ABC staffing. Y'all hiring? Somebody told me y'all had some jobs, and I was just calling to see what y'all had got because I'm looking for a job.
well, that
That
sounds
is
really
how.
terrible. That sounds really terrible on my end. And so, for those don't that may not know, it's a really bad habit to get into the habit. And that's why I stress to people that get off your phone sometimes and interact with people, because that's a lost art. And so if you get into the habit of speaking the way that you text, you're going to take it into the professional world, and that's a no-no. And
And that's
so
exactly what they're doing.
okay, so that's where we go wrong. So phone etiquette, you pick up the phone and you're calling for a job. And so I would assume, I'm not the human resource specialist, but I would probably just politely say hello and then ask, is there any availability for employment as such? So do you have any, let's go a little bit further before we go into the how, the correct way. And so when you get past that part, what are you seeing with resumes?
I don't mean to laugh. So resumes are another
A little
piece to the
distorted,
puzzle.
a little bit distorted again.
Oh Lord. Okay, what about now?
You sound great.
Okay. So resumes are also a missing
Wait,
piece of the
it's
puzzle.
okay. I don't know what's up with your phone, but okay. All right, we're gonna
Me
work
either.
through it.
Okay, what about now?
Horrible.
Okay, let me go outside there. The heck? Hold on for 1 second. Let me move to another part of the house.
Okay, no problem. Let me just salute my chat. So salute the Bomb Mom 3C. Salute Dr. Famo, Don Can't Clone Me. Salute Ghetto Child Clinic. Thank you guys for joining us. We're just having a small segment on being professional and being prepared for employment. And we have Miss JB on the line, and she's a human resource specialist. She kind of went over her credentials, and I don't want to mess that up, but she has her MBA in. Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Am I sounding okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, good. It's another part of the house. So yes, I have an MBA in leadership and I have an undergraduate in HR management for those that are just tuning in. So I'm a
Okay,
little bit, I feel that I'm kind of qualified to speak on this subject. And again, I work for a staffing service. I'm a staffing supervisor, so I place a lot of people at temp to hire positions. And like we were saying, just the initial phone call calling into the office, if I can't see your face, so the first thing would be the conversation in your voice. And if you're calling in, I'll give another example. ABC staffing. Oh yeah, they told me to call in, and they said I had to finish my paperwork, so I had finished it because somebody had told me that I had needed to complete all my documents so that I can get a job. Okay, so may I ask whom I'm speaking to? Oh, I'm sorry, this Shelby. Okay, Shelby, what is your full name? Because a lot of people don't understand that your name is your first and last name. There's so
okay,
many Shelbys in the world. So if someone asks you your name is Shelby Smith, your name is Shelby Jones, your name is Shelby Watkins, Shelby Jenkins. It's not just Shelby.
got it. Salutes to the chat, you guys, and I may not be able to get to you right away because we're gonna try to get through this segment, and then I'll shout everybody out. And if everybody has any questions, you can feel free to ask Mrs. JB. So salute Old Tunes and salute Stardust too, and welcome. Okay, so now um, I know it's not your place as the recruiter to correct people. Um, but I'm pretty sure a lot of times you have kind of given people tips, some things that you've seen that have went terribly wrong, and maybe just in the sisterhood, giving them some tips so that they'll know to try to clean that up as they go along on their employment search journey. And so, outside of that, so resumes itself. Okay. So are the resumes, what do you suggest for resumes? Do you suggest that maybe they seek professional help in creating a resume? But I've learned, like, such as Indeed, when I'm on Indeed, if I'm searching for employment, they do have a portion on Indeed where you can create a resume yourself. But I'm guessing maybe the people don't know how to format it, even when it's pre-formatted for you, if that makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense. You can always Google resume templates and it will allow you to, it'll give you step by step on how to insert your summary, how to insert your education if you want to put that first, or experience first, education last. There's a lot of templates that people can research to get a really good resume. You can also get a picture of a resume that's already been built and just plug and chug, meaning take their information out and put your information in exactly how you see it on the template, and you cannot go wrong with that. But then a lot of people still, they don't understand the purpose of a resume. That's also to get you through the door. So you want to make sure that you spell check, that it's presentable, that you're presentable on paper, as well as presentable through your voice. And when you come into the office, presentable with the way that you dress, and again, the way that you speak. You can't
Okay.
speak how you text. I'm going to say that again. You cannot call a company looking for employment speaking how you text. You got to be able to wear different hats. You got to know when to turn the proper grammar on and turn the proper grammar off, depending on where you are.
Okay, that's good information. So again, just to recap what you just said, you can Google different templates or formats on how to format your resume. The other example you gave was just maybe take a picture of someone else's and, like you said, plug and chug. Correct.
Correct.
And okay, so let now we are past the phone call. So no with the speaking like you're texting. Number two, your resume should be professional and up to par. Spell check, make sure that everything is spelled correctly and there are no grammatical errors there. So now we're going to proceed to in the door, and this is when it gets interesting. Salutes, love, Zay. So when we're going to talk about when they're walking through the door. So as they're walking through the door, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing guys with saggy trousers, butt hanging out. I had to tell this one guy, "Can you pull your pants up?" I could literally see the crack of his tail.
So
Pull your pants up. They're coming in there with dirty clothes on, just like they just rolled out of the bed. Some women have their hair all over their head. Um, Too tight clothes on, too small clothes on. Like I say, dirty clothes, just not looking presentable as if you want to go out to work. So the way that you come into the office, if I send you out on an assignment that's temp to hire, how are you going to present yourself in that kind of environment? If you're coming into the office looking any kind of way. And I know nowadays that most younger people think that it's okay to wear a sleeping cap on your head outside. That's not okay. It's not okay to come into the office like that. It's not okay to wear Crocs. Those are not made to wear everywhere. That's casual. You're coming into a business looking for a job. Basic, basic pants, basic shoes, basic shirt. No one says it have to be Gucci Lucci. But long as it's clean and presentable and pressed, you're fine. But don't come in ripped jeans with all kind of words on them, all kind of colors. That's not appropriate to come into an employment agency looking for a job. This is not a club. You're trying to get employment.
okay. And so I should hope that nobody comes into the interview with a bonnet on, right? And
You'd be
so
surprised.
we might be a little bit old school, and so there were colors that were specific to what you should look like in the interview process: black, white, grays, possibly brown or tan, but just like kind of like, do they call it just neutral colors?
Right.
And nothing, or navy blue. I'm sorry, let me not forget navy blue and colors like that. And I guess now times are a little different, so you may see different colors. So let me ask you, so I have someone in the chat that asked about religious garbs. So do is there an issue when there are religious garbs worn?
No. Most people with religious guards come in and they're presentable. They're looking how they're supposed to look wearing their religious guard. So that's never a problem. They're always dressed up to par. It's just the ones that come in with the sleeping caps on. I'm going to say that one more time. That is not appropriate. Pass the word. It's not appropriate to be walking down the street with a cap on that you sleep in. Don't let what you see other people do confuse you. That is not okay. Not
Got it.
okay.
Got it. Okay, so here we are. We've graduated to in the interview, and now they are in the seat, and it is time to impress the employer. And so, are you with the employer that you have? Are there specific questions that they've designed that you have to ask, or is it formatted, or you just kind of freestyle when you're interviewing these people?
There are specific questions that we ask, and depending on the response, you can freestyle and take it a step further if you need to probe for more detailed answers.
Okay. And we we just want to be as real about this as possible, because this is real life, and these people are unprepared for the employment world. And so, and this is the part that's going to get a little interesting when they sit down, and some of the responses you get when you ask questions. And so we were talking one day, and you explained to me, you one of the questions that you asked was, what's the reason that you left your last employer? Is that how you guys ask? Is that how you ask the question, or is it formatted differently?
It's formatted. Why are you no longer there?
Okay. And so, can you remember some of the responses that you've gotten when you asked that question?
Yes, one of the responses that I will never forget when I was interviewing the candidate, she told me that it was none of my business as to why she was not at her previous employment. So my next question was, first I had to collect myself because I never expected that answer. But if you can't tell me why you were not at your last employment and to say that it's none of my business, I mean, that's not a question that is like you can't answer that question. That is a relevant question. Why are you no longer there? The response could be, if you're always in doubt, I was looking for better opportunities. I took a better opportunity. Maybe you relocated, but never, it's none of my business, because it is my business to know why you aren't at your last employment. It's not a rude question. It's not a probing question. It's a general question. And the answer could be A or B or C. Looking for better opportunities. I relocated. It wasn't any growth there. Maybe it was poor management, something to that effect, but never, it's none of your business. And
Mm-hmm.
if you were terminated from a position, the go-to answer would be you were looking for better opportunities.
Okay, sounds great. So now I know when I interview, and the person that I'm being interviewed by, when they ask me why am I no longer with the last company, and I say, well, I don't think that's your business. I know that that's a no-no. So,
Yes.
any other experiences that you've had that stand out with you?
On a positive side or negative side?
let's do negative, and then we'll counteract it with a positive.
Okay, so some of the interviews, if you come into the office as a walk-in, I can interview you over the computer. It's kind of like in person, but you're on one side of the office, I'm on the other side. So if it's a phone interview and you're at home, the proper thing, and even if you're called into the office, go to a place that's quiet, TV on in the background. You trying to talk to Mickey that's in the room with you, ride in the car with your friends. If you know you have a scheduled phone interview, don't be in the car with your friends with the music playing in the background. Don't be in a house full of people that I can hear everything that's going on in your background. And then you're trying to talk over your background instead of you going into another room. I have to tell you, can you please go to a room that the background is quiet? But sometimes common sense is not that common. But it's not a
Okay.
good look when I can tell that you're in the car and some people is outside the car shooting dice. I can hear that going on. And you think that's okay during your phone interview.
So I have a couple of comments. Love Zay says hygiene is key too. Don't overdo the body sprays. People depending on the job. People have allergies to scents. Um, also when job call, wait, also when jobs call previous jobs, they cannot ask why you were let go or quit, only if you were rehire or not.
That's when you're doing a reference check. When you're
Okay.
doing an interview, you can't ask the person why you're no longer there. When you're doing references to verify employment, you can't ask those kind of questions. They can only verify the dates of employment. You can kind of squeeze in, where they're punctual or reliable, but it's a difference between reference check and interview questions.
Okay. Also know the company's mission statement. And I second that. A lot of people apply for jobs and they don't know the first thing about the company and they go sit before the HR rep and they are clueless. So why do you want
Yes.
to work here? And they're like, well, where is this? I don't know.
It's always good to Google the company just to know what the company is about, when the company was founded, because they may ask you questions. Some of them will ask you questions about the company. You can also Google what question can you ask the interviewer and what questions can you expect to be asked during the interview so that you can prepare yourself for the interview. Employers, interviewers really love it when they come back with really good questions at the end. You have any questions or comments? And then you can ask them questions like, well, what do you most like about the company? What does success look like in this particular role? Questions like, how long have you been with the company? What's a typical day um, in this particular role? Questions like that. But again, you can always do your research and Google. Google is your friend.
All right. Love says, should you take notes during an interview?
You can. You can.
So
You
you're
can
pretty
jot
much
down exactly if you're asking, if you would take interviews when you're asking the interviewer question, you can take down your response as to
and that
what
was
they're saying.
my next question. That's always the part of the interview where I have fun is when they say, do you have any questions for us? And so a lot of times I have a humorous personality. So a lot of times that's the time to let your personality shine through. And so I always kind of break the ice and I go, and it might be old school, but it works for me. I've gotten a job by saying this, but I'll say, sure, where can I hang my coat? And then they laugh and then they know that I have a, they know that I'm not uptight. Would you hire me if I said that to you?
Yeah, that would be funny to me. So that is showing your sense of humor. Even when they ask you, when can you start? You can say, I can start yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So that's people don't understand that, but when you're interviewing in that part, you have any questions, you're supposed to at that point it's like your showcase, your talent showcase. You're supposed to let it show at that point. And
Right.
so let me ask you, since now marijuana is pretty legal in most places. Well, I guess most places. I'm not keeping up with it. I do know it's legal where I am, and that's all that matters. But so I wanted to ask you, as far as that goes, um, do you have any tips for people? Do you suggest that maybe they go to GNC and do some golden seal, or should they just, detox for a month? I mean, not that you are a substance abuser or anything. I'm not insinuating that. I'm just asking because I know that that gets in the way of a lot of people gaining employment.
True. So some of the companies that I staff for are THC friendly. So if I'm speaking with a candidate, I would always just put that out there. If that's something that you're concerned about, we do staff for companies that are THC friendly. However, you cannot go into work that way. So I always tell them, if you work the day shift, save it for the ride home. If you work the second shift, wake and bake, don't go to work under the influence. If you work the third shift, you got time to sleep it off. And then you can save it for the ride home. Don't do it on your lunch break. Don't do it coming to work. Do it on your downtime if that's what you do. But it will limit you on the assignments that you can get because all companies are not THC friendly.
Got it. Got it. Well, that's wonderful. We're moving into a society where some of the companies are THC friendly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And but I do understand they don't want you to be under the influence while you are performing on the job. And so, any further things you like to add as far as any tips or any advice or anything as we close out this segment? I just kind of wanted to just shine a little light on some of the things that you and I talked about, and we know that it's a problem that people aren't really groomed for employment, and sometimes people don't have that mentor or that person in their life to kind of guide them to help them through that process. And so, Old Tunes, you have a question.
Well, I would just say, if as far as the community, if you see someone, if you know someone, give them some tips. If you're out shopping, try to give a nice tip to a young adult, when they are speaking incorrectly. When I used to work for JC Penney's, when we had the hiring events, I would give them counseling then. I would always want to work the front desk so I can see them coming in. Some of them came in very inappropriate dress codes, and I would pull up to the side and say, hey, I'm not going to let you go to the back to interview, but we'll be here till 7. I need you to go home and change your clothes, put on some basic pants, a nice shirt, come on back. I'll let them interview you, but you can't come in here with graphic t-shirts and ripped jeans to a job interview. You got to get the job first. Although they sell what you have on, you got to get the job first.
Yeah.
First impressions are lasting impressions. Some of them will take the advice, come back, and I will send them to the back. They'll come back and thank me for telling me because no one told them. So it takes a village. The villages are gone, but if you see someone and you know someone, be nice and correct them so that when they get out there, they won't get a slap in the face or a closed door.
And I think so many people have gotten used to this virtual thing, where the employer is calling me, because I know recently an employer called me, and I'm confidence goes a long way, and I guess it doesn't make me nervous when an employer calls me, and I guess that's because even if they don't hire me, I've employed myself, so I know how to get out here and get it on my own. But I was pretty comfortable in conversation just talking to the employer, but it was like they don't I don't know if they just judge you now off your voice. I mean, it was like I pretty much had the job, and I'm like, this guy hasn't seen me, you know, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna send you the paperwork. When can you start? And it's just a little different now. So do people actually come into the office for you anymore, or is everything just done over the phone?
The phone interviews are done over the phone, but we do have walk-ins. You can come into the office. Eventually, you're going to be in the office because you have to present your two forms of ID and
Mhm.
submit to the drug screen. So I'm going to see your face. However, if I'm talking to you over the phone, that's the first point of contact. Like you said, you speak very well. You held the conversation. You engaged him. So he's like, okay, I think she's pretty cool. You know how to talk. If you know how to talk, that's back in the day. You got to give for gab. If you can talk and be charming, you can fake it until you make it. Fake it until you become it.
Yeah, pretty
It's,
good. Sounds good. Girl, times are so different, but we started working really early. And for those that don't know, she and I we've been friends for I don't know. That's probably telling my age, but probably
don't do
30,
it.
maybe ew, over 30
We'll
years.
just say the eighth grade without telling the age.
Yeah, so but it's been over 30 years and that's a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
30 years to be friends with somebody. Oh my goodness. And so I can remember being teenagers, we had on suits and high heels. We could walk in
Okay.
heels at a very, very young age, and we were sophisticated, and but things are a little different now. This is the tennis shoe era, and so my mother even, I think, my freshman year in high school, she brought home like three pairs of high heels, and they weren't like stilettos, but they were like 3-inch heels. And so it was like, I guess that was her way of teaching me feminine etiquette, you know start wearing the heels, and as you learn how to walk, you'll be comfortable. And so that came in handy because by the time I was 15 and 16, when I went to a job interview with my houndstooth, if anybody knows what that print is, with my houndstooth suit on and my little briefcase and my high heels, most of the time when I walked through the door, I had the job because it's how I presented myself. And so that goes a long way. And the same with her. I remember young, we were groomed for this, um, where I would see her with business suits on and dressed all up at a young age, looking like she's a grown woman, but we were really young, but we groomed really early for it. So any other things you like to add?
No, I think that's about it. Just
Okay. Okay.
remember to, when you call into an establishment, take notes. Some people call in with a whole paragraph. And I say, well, who are you talking to? I don't know. I don't know her name. Get their
Take
name just in case you have to call back. So you can say, I was speaking with popcornologist. Okay, let me let you speak to her. Or they'll call and say, somebody just called, I just missed call, somebody just call. Okay. Did they send
Mhm.
you a voicemail? Yes, they did. Do you mind going back to listen to it? Because it may give you directions on what to do next or who to call and ask for.
So perhaps maybe that's a, because I'm all about entrepreneurship, and it's fine. Sometimes life situations don't always go as we planned, and you end up, some people are comfortable working for other people and may not entertain the idea of working for self. But I wonder if there's still a need. For something like that, an agency where, you are helping write resumes and, maybe, interviewing tips and workshops, let me say. I guess that would be more appropriate. And so that might be perfect for you. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, actually, I thought about opening up my own staffing service eventually. So this is some good practice.
Hang on, that was
Um,
important. You kind of went a little low.
oh, okay, what about now?
Great.
Okay. So I was actually, one of my goals is to open up my own staffing service in the next few years. So me working at the staffing service is giving me some good insight on the do's and the don'ts on how I would want to run my business and how I can also have those services there, the mentor services, the resume services, how to dress, even with old clothing, just have like a small wardrobe room because everyone can't afford interview clothes. So to have them some things that they can choose to wear so that they can get the job that they want and be presentable and go in and claim it. So yeah.
I like that. I like that. And so I'm looking forward to that. I don't forget nothing. So in the next couple of years, I'm gonna be looking forward to that service, that employment service that you're gonna have. I'm all about us working for ourselves. It's so rewarding. But you were there the first day I opened up my store because you were there to help me with my grand opening, and so you know all about it. It's such a good feeling. So I'm looking forward to that for you. You worked so hard to get to where you are today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so I'm not going to hold you too long. I know you've worked all day and you've done this for me as a favor. And I hope that somebody along the way can take something from this or pass it on to somebody who's looking for a job, or it just may be something to help you to remember what to tell them to help them get that job, because we want everybody to succeed when they go out looking for employment and such. And so we're going to close this segment out. But coming up, it won't be today. We're going to go off into some entrepreneurship and talk a little bit about that and helping people just how to start businesses that may not know how to do that, because it's not always about working for someone else. Working for yourself is just as well. And so, again, thank you, Miss JB, for coming on and hanging out with me. It's a pleasure. And I need you to come back, and we'll kick back when you come back next time. It won't just be all business.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I enjoyed it. And anytime you want me to come back, of course, I got you.
All right. I appreciate it. And we're signing off. We're signing off. And thank you guys for joining me. Thank you, Question Everything. Salutes to you. Love Zay. Thanks so much. Old Tunes,
Welcome.
Bomb Mom, Starduster. Thank you guys for joining in. And Ghetto Child Clinic. Oh, I had a few people in here. Okay. All right.
Cool. So
We
pass
had
the
a few
word.
people.
Pass the word.
Pass the word. All right. Sounds good. All right. Thanks again. And you have a great evening, everybody. We're out.
You too. See ya.
See ya.